power pose, and you put your hands on your hips. It makes you look like a superhero. Power pose basically is we're gonna get you into proper posture. We're gonna get you into proper alignment and make sure that you're really compact in your center so that no matter what movement you're doing it safely and you're getting proper engagement. Live training session today. I'm gonna do a little personal trainer, like how-to situation. I think maybe I will do this regularly if it goes over well. So what I wanna talk about today is like the foundational body position that we always wanna start and end in, no matter what exercise you're doing, no matter what it is. This body position is gonna bring you into proper posture, into proper alignment. It's gonna make safely engaging your muscles that much easier. And it's like the foundation of where you start and end everything. So I always call this power pose, and if you put your hands on your hips, it makes you look like a superhero. And if you've gone through any of my fitness classes, any of my personal training, both in person or online, or if you bought the DIY Fit Plan, the first video that you see is a breakdown of the power pose. So power pose is like it's where you gotta be all the time. You always wanna be in your power when you're working your muscles. So I'm gonna turn side to the camera here. Your power pose basically is we're gonna get you into proper posture. We're gonna get you into proper alignment and make sure that you're really compact in your center so that no matter what movement you're doing it safely and you're getting proper engagement. So when it comes to doing your power pose, it's like a 3-part checklist. I always start from the bottom and go up, so it starts with your hips. Notice how when I'm standing, I have a little bit of arch in my lower back and a little bit of like pooch in my belly. And that's not because I have like a bunch of fat there, but it's because my hips are dumped forward right now. If your hips are like a bowl and they're holding water, my water would be dumping forward. That's my natural standing position. So when I'm going to work out or I'm going to add load to my body, I want to correct that. So step checklist part 1 is to tuck the hips under. So essentially you're just rolling the bowl of your hips forward and I'm neutralizing my lower spine and at the same time squeezing my glutes. So that's part 1 is hips and glute squeeze. Part 2 is core engagement or contraction. So this is relax and then pull it in. So those two things actually happen pretty simultaneously because it's 2 parts of the same action. And what I like about it is that it's packing me inward this way, sort of supporting my spine from both sides and getting me really nicely engaged. So scoop and tuck plus that engagement, that's part 1. Part 2, and then part 3 is your shoulders. So for your shoulders, I always say roll your shoulders down and back. Because a lot of times when we stand like this. We want to roll the shoulders down and back to lock in your lats. And notice, now I have a nice straight line from my shoulders to my hips. So when I'm standing, I might be like this, and it has a little bit of a hook in it. But when I'm locked and loaded in power pose, it's a nice straight line from your shoulders to your hips. Put your hands on your hips and you look like a superhero. So that is power pose, and that's where we're always gonna come back to, okay? So if I start in power pose and then I sit back into a squat, right? I'm gonna come back to that same engagement, which means that I'm gonna squeeze my glutes and my core, come back to it at the top. And if I'm holding a weight here, I'm making sure my shoulders are down and back so that I keep a nice neutral spine throughout all of those squats, okay? So that's why we want power pose. It keeps your spine nice and neutral, it keeps your core engaged, it keeps your back engaged, and keeps you in a neutral position for all of your movements. So if I'm gonna do a bent over movement, I'm gonna start again in power pose, right? And then I'm gonna hang on to this position and I'm just gonna hinge forward. So my core is still tight, my glutes are still tight, and this way when I do any of these kind of rowing motions, I still have that nice neutral spine. The other thing is when you're doing like an overhead push movement, I'm gonna start in power pose and then be able to press overhead without doing any kind of shrugging or like swaying, because you really can't sway back and forth if your core and your back and your glutes are engaged. Lastly, and this is where that whole push-up challenge thing really got me as a trainer. Like, I really wanted to be on people's sides and say, yeah, do your push-ups, but if you're losing that engagement and that neutrality in your spine when you're doing push-ups, it's not a good push-up form. So a couple of things that you see as like mistakes people are making on their push-ups is, okay, this is power pose, right? A push-up is just this, only horizontal, okay? So you're just here, but you just like turn. So what people were doing, losing their low back. And that's when you get a lot of this action with the push-ups, right? You saw a lot of people's hips going up and down. Or if we don't lock our lats down, then we do a lot of like this sort of caving. So if someone's head was flopping a lot on their push-ups, it means that they weren't locked and loaded in the back and they weren't supporting their neck. So, let's see if I can demo this. If I'm gonna get into push-up position, okay, starting on my knees, I'm gonna start locked and loaded in power pose, and I'm gonna keep it the whole time. Also not over rotating my shoulders. So it all comes back to, in a plank position, lock it in, and then you can do your push-ups from here, never losing that power pose position. So think about that when you're doing, I'm just like, you know, when you are doing your at-home workouts, it's worth it to spend a few minutes sitting in front of the mirror or standing in front of the mirror and practicing what that looks like and what that feels like in your body, because it's gonna feel different and it's gonna look different. I've been doing the power pose cueing for so long that my body just kind of goes there naturally because I'm used to doing that mental checklist. Hips forward, glutes tight, core engaged, shoulders down and back. And that's where I start and end all of my movements naturally because I'm in the habit. So take a few minutes, 5 minutes before you start your at-home workout, do it in the mirror and see what it looks like and feels like in your body, because it's gonna keep you safe, it's gonna help you engage better, and it's gonna help you get the most out of your workouts. So, does anyone have any questions? Now's your chance, because I'm gonna continue sweating doing my full body workout that I posted the other day. And if you do have any questions, or you watch this and you're like, I need more of that info, shoot me a DM, because I have a few things coming up and I would love to get you early access to them. So, have a great rest of your day, get your body moving, and I don't know, get your sweat on. It feels good.